It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
I want to play a game.
Hello and welcome to the Sounds from the Grave podcast. My name is Yusuf.
And my name is Vanya.
And it started out as a prank, but then it turned to murder.
Alright guys, if this doesn't sound familiar, we are going to be talking about something that has been trending on Netflix. And now it seems like a type of series that has been going around for a bit. We are talking about the Fear Street series of movies that... Yep. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that Yusuf kind of threw me off there. But yes, I think it's interesting because there's just... it's every week they have a different movie coming out. I don't know if it's going to end in 3 or if they're going to release like one of every year until October season. I don't know how that works, but we're really excited to talk to you at least about 1994. I don't know if Yusuf wants to talk about 1978 because I watched it, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spoil it too much for him since he hasn't watched it yet.
Yeah,
so.
I haven't had a chance to. I just got back from vacation and like the past weekend has been pretty busy for me, so I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But I got a chance to rewatch 1994 to prep up for this podcast because I literally saw it the day it came out and then I haven't seen it yet again. So I was like, you know what? I have a little bit of time. Let me watch it real quick, and that way I can kind of prep up, get used to it again, and like remember everything I probably forgot because my memory is awful.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, we do want to talk about 2 big things going on in the haunt community right now. And I'm going to let you take this first one because it's something that you have been a part of for a couple years now already. So.
Okay. So, so A Petrified Forest is now taking auditions for this next haunt season. I cannot say the theme yet. I do know the theme of it, but I do not wish to say that unless it is public. I am so sorry. But it is going to be a very exciting theme. But yeah, they have auditions on August 7th and 14th. So you have 2 days to come over to Altamont Springs, A Petrified Forest, to their location, and audition so you can be a part of our haunt family, especially if you have been trying out for other haunts and it hasn't worked out. Definitely, if you do your best, we would love to have you in our haunt family kind of thing. So it is August 7th and 14th. Those are the only 2 days to audition. So if you're interested, just stop on by and, give it your best, and I hope to see you in the forest.
Yeah, it's I've been going to Petrified for over 5 or 6 years now, and honestly, it gets better every year. Like I always go all out. I always buy the ticket for all 3 trails, and then I buy the backstage VIP tour because it's always a lot of fun. I always like learning about it, and but yeah, and it's funny enough. Last time I went with Jonathan and Christy from Hung Up on Horror, and I think it was Jonathan's first time.
Yeah.
And he was absolutely blown away, and I was too, because it was one of the most ambitious years. It was really, really good. So if you want to be a part of that, I highly recommend that you audition for it. And if you don't get the chance to audition, definitely just go as a guest because it's just so much fun.
Yeah, so it's going to be a fun time, especially if you have the availability. So I think the availabilities are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and some Wednesdays. That's if we bring back Eclipse Night. That's we're unsure about Eclipse Night. So it would be cool if we could have Eclipse Night back because I do want to touch and terrorize some people and take away their glow sticks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun, especially when I know what trail you're gonna be in. So like I'm always looking out for you, and you still always get me.
Yeah.
Because because I tell you like right before, it's like, hey, I'm about to go, and you're like, oh fuck, I gotta prep this shit up.
Yeah, I always have like a little tiny amount of time to check my phone so I can see where my friends are at. Sometimes I have actually, while I was scaring last year, I ran into Johnny Bronto and his crew from Haunt Scene. I saw Losh and Hollow Thrills.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you guys, of course, hung up on theme parks and now hung up on horror now. Who else? I saw Sir Henry's crew team. But yeah, other than that, yeah, so far none of the radio people haven't come by. Normally we usually have Johnny's house come through, but yeah, so
But still, it's a little early, but yeah, I'm
yeah.
excited for it. I can't wait for that because it's outside of Horror Nights, it's one of my one of my go-to haunts out of the few that I go to anyway.
You guys are gonna love this year. I really hope if okay, no offense if I don't get called in for another job, which I have been interviewing and it's been going well. But if I don't, I still want to haunt. I want to haunt this so bad this year at least, so I can it's such a stress reliever. Just scaring people is just a stress reliever in general. So, yeah.
But that's something to look forward to. But our next piece of news is definitely one of the bigger ones. We got the official announcement that Hill House is going to be coming to Halloween Horror Nights this year. And I know that you and I were not super excited about this. I'm not going to say we were unhappy because we were just happy to get an announcement. We were happy that we know what's coming. We just we weren't as excited as a lot of the people in the Twitter community were, just because we were having trouble figuring out how they would translate Hill House into a Horror Nights house.
Especially how much of a grieving and depressing theme it is. I mean, I know
Yeah.
it's scary, but it's just a very depressing theme. I mean, I know that they've done like a lot of cemetery, funeral type of ghost story type of haunts. Like in Hollow Scream,
Mm-hmm.
they have the it's a kind of like a funeral home house that they have. Very it's kind of very, it smells like the morgue and it's so
Mm.
but and all that kind of stuff. And you know that Hill House has a lot of that, a lot of Victorian esque dead flowers, ghostly figures and that kind of thing. It is definitely a house that I feel like they're gonna very much focus on the bent neck lady and the ghost rather than the actual story itself. But like I
Yeah.
said, I am excited for those who are a fan of it, but I am not super fond of the show. I like it. It's just like for it to be translated into a house is a little iffy for me. But congratulations for you guys. I'm really happy for you guys, and you guys get to experience another awesome IP this year.
Yeah, it's true. Funny enough, after seeing the little behind the scenes pictures of the house and kind of seeing people's take on it, it's getting me a little bit more excited because from what I've been able to gather, it looks like it's going to focus more on the actual house as a character.
Yeah,
Because it's, I remember the house being kind of similar to like The Shining, where it's
yeah,
like always there and time doesn't really the rules of time don't really apply there in a way.
yeah,
And it looks like they're going to be focusing on the house as a character and obviously like the big major creepy things that are in the show, like the Bentnick lady and the gentleman and that kind of stuff. And from what we know, I mean, Horror Nights is really good at doing haunted houses. I think Dead End was one of them. The Wyandotte Estate, like that kind of stuff. They're really good at. So
and Graveyard Games is
and
also
graveyard
another
games. So stuff that's kind of like traditional haunting areas. They're
yeah.
really really good at. So you know what? I'm willing to be a lot more open to it and not be like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna like it. It's just like, you know what? I can be excited for this. Horror Nights has a good track record with this kind of stuff. So you know what? I'm all for it.
It's kind of like with Stranger Things getting announced, it was great. The first house was amazing.
Oh yeah.
And plus that the Demogorgons and the actual story was the primary focus. The only downer, I liked it, but it was really short, and I feel like
It
they
was.
just used too much of the space for the really giant Demogorgon in the mall. I feel like that took up like most of the sound stage. And I feel like the second one was kind of a Debbie Downer, which is why I'm like hoping that maybe Hill House they're gonna do good with Hill Houses. The fact that it's gonna come is gonna do good. But if Bly Manor becomes a thing next year, I don't know. Like, I hope that they don't fuck that up because I actually enjoyed Bly Manor. It just the protagonist was a little annoying, but but other than that, it would. It's always like the second houses that they tend to just kind of crumble down, but that's just me.
We'll
But
see.
you did again. Killer Clowns was also really good though, both Scare Zone and House. Scare Zone and House, like in detail wise, I know it was kind of cheesy and that kind of.
It wasn't just cheesy. I think it was just like my run throughs of it just weren't that fun for me. I was just like, eh. Like, funny enough, I kind of felt like there was a lot of just empty black curtains and black space in a lot of that house. So I was just like,
black walls.
A lot of the detail is like missing for me. I'm like, why does this look like a Horror Nights Hollywood maze? It's like that's like what Hollywood is known for, like black wall after black wall. So
Rip. I hope Jonathan's not listening. Rip.
If he is, then I don't care. I can start a Twitter beef with him about this because I guess at least we still agree on Buzz Cola. So.
Oh my god. The only thing that y'all will agree on. I mean, like I said, Buzz Cola is refreshing. Just
it's delicious.
Not the best thing for a drink. But would you consider the best thing for a drink, though?
I would still say so. You know what? I think it's tied for me with the frozen butterbeer, because
frozen butterbeer is the shit, bro.
I'm a slave for frozen butterbeer. Like I would kill a man for a frozen butterbeer, no problem.
Yeah, you quake in the boots.
Then I think I would seriously injure a man for a Buzz Cola. Like that. Nah. That's my point of comparison. I would kill for a frozen butterbeer. I would injure heavily for a Buzz Cola.
Nah, y'all can have all of my Buzz Colas. Like I really gotta crave it, and it's like a major craving, but with all due respect.
Yeah, for me, especially like during the summer, it's like super refreshing because like it's hot as fuck out there. Like I'll be sweating like a pig, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm by this area. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna have me a Buzz Cola. It'll chill me right up.
Yeah, I think I heard that tomorrow is also the first day of rehearsals for HHN. So.
Oh wow!
Have fun!
So exciting!
Have fun, y'all.
I'm so excited, and I really hope because they announced the multi-night tickets pretty soon because I'm getting a little anxious.
And I'm a little worried, so
yeah. Hopefully, but we'll see. I mean, it's still early. We still have like 53, 52 days. So who knows? A lot can happen. I mean,
don't say that because I didn't even reserve a hotel, and I really want to do the HHN Icons bar. I really want to do that.
We should all do that as like a group because I really want to do that too.
The fact that Cece and Kyle and everybody else is doing it on different days, that's the problem though. I know that they're doing it somewhere in September 17th or something like that. I don't know, something like that.
Well, we'll talk to them. We'll definitely try to meet up with them for sure.
Yeah, I want to do it.
But yeah, that's really our big news that's been going on this past week. So a lot to get excited about. A lot of interesting stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but without further ado, let us dive into Fear Street Part 1, 1994.
Yeah, so this movie starts off very interesting. It feels like the way of any kind of cheesy horror film would start off of, someone gets murdered in the beginning.
It's very reminiscent of Scream. Like it's very, very much like Scream.
Yeah. So,
but like in a really nice way.
Yeah. It's just the fact that in the beginning there is this girl that she works at a bookstore, and then she contacts her friend, and then her friend's like trying to pick her up, I think it was, or like
he was gonna be her ride home or something. Yeah.
And then when she was getting done, she starts hearing some footsteps, and she thinks she's going crazy, and then she sees some crazy guy in a mask, in a skull mask. And it's funny because when I was watching this movie with my dad, it's like, what is with all the movies that I've been watching with these skull masks or any kind of Halloween mask because I just introduced him to Halloween 3. So now he's just like, what is this? What is going on in the world?
That's really funny because like I saw that and I was like, oh hey, look, it's Ghostface if he was wearing a silver Shamrock mask.
Oh my god!
Especially
no.
because if you look at Scream, Ghostface was not like a super coordinated killer. Like Ghostface like would just fall down constantly and he would get pushed down constantly.
Oh
And
yeah.
like I feel like that's what was happening a good amount of time with the killer in this one.
Yeah.
Which
so,
I thought was really funny.
Yeah, so my dad was
Yeah.
like, "What's up with the skull people?" Anyway, but then she gets chased down, and then she finally calls 911. It failed. They always fail to get the information too fast. That's why I don't
Dang
even
it.
be trusted 911 some days. But yeah, and then she gets tackled down by the killer. She removes it. It's surprise her friend, who looks like he's been on something or he's possessed or some kind of shit like that. And he kills her, but then he also gets shot, and that's the ending of our first scene. So
Yeah.
that was it was intense because it's just like, wait, what's going on?
Mhm.
That's it. Like I was like, the movie should have ended there. It's like that's it. That's the tea.
Funny enough, when I was watching it for the first time, for some reason my mind was like, oh no, it's Robin from Stranger Things, she's dead. I was like, wait, that's not Stranger Things, this is Fear Street, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it was Robin. Really?
Yeah, that was my hawk.
I didn't even realize. Damn, I didn't even realize.
And I definitely, like, you already got your first taste as like to the soundtrack of this movie, which I gotta say is like freaking amazing. I love the soundtrack to this movie. And literally, they just hit you right off the bat with Closer by 9 Inch Nails. I'm like, oh, it's going to be good. I'm ready.
Yeah. The thing that got me about this movie is the soundtrack that takes you so much into the 90s. And I know a couple of friends who were watching it as we were on the phone, and I'm like trying not to listen to it because I'm like trying not to spoil it for myself. And they're like, "Oh yeah, they keep putting songs like every 2 minutes." Like
They really
I was
do.
like, ah.
Like, they really hammer home that, like, it's the 90s, damn it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. But I mean, it kind of dies down in like the
A little
middle
bit,
of the
yeah,
movie.
like farther. I think like at the halfway point, it kind of dies down a little bit.
Yeah, but they just throw those.
Oh yeah,
90s.
they're like, here's 9 Inch Nails. Hey, everybody likes White Zombie. Hey, you remember Creep by Radiohead, right? Throw that in there too.
Yeah. So yeah, there's just a lot of 90s reference in this movie. So then we are followed by, I think, our protagonist. Would you consider her a protagonist? I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
I forgot her name. I know that the girl's name is Sam. I forgot the protagonist's name.
We'll just call her Curly Hair because she had really curly hair, and that's the only thing I like to really remember.
I feel so improper. Hold on. Here's
I'm really bad at remembering names of characters in horror movies. Like, I'm just the worst at it. Like, I have to have seen a movie like 5 or 6 times to actually remember names.
Wow, this is kind of an awful rundown. This is curly hair. Oh, Dina. There you go.
Dina. Wow, I completely forgot that was her name. But yeah, it's really cool though, because like she's making this like little box, and you're like, oh, it's kind of cute, because she's like writing this note and like putting all this cute little stuff in a box, and then when you read the note, you're like, I fucking hate you, like fuck off.
And like, she had to like scratch. She scratched off stuff, and she was like, I hate you. I was like, I never want to see you again. I was like, go fuck yourself.
It was, yeah, that was really
whoa,
funny.
Listen. And when I thought she wrote Sam, I was like, yo, I thought she was writing about a dude at first. I was just like, huh.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she did that on purpose too, just to like make you think it's like, oh, it's gonna be your basic, like boy and girl type story. And I like that they kind of have a nice twist on that.
Yeah. So then, like, when she goes to school, she's kind of miserable, and she keeps, and like, she's a part of the band and that kind of thing. I think they were doing kind of like a vigil for
the girl that died in the beginning.
The girl that died in the beginning, and then this is what I like about the Fear Street, like movie, is the fact that there's some kind of rivalry like between cities.
Yeah,
it was super interesting. No offense. I'm not trying to like compare it because I watched this show and I'm kind of trash. It reminded me a little bit of Riverdale when they're always talking about Greendale and like what was it? Yeah, they talk about Greendale, which is where Sabrina's from, and like other places in like that universe. So now it's like Sunnyvale and Shadyside. So it's just like there's like this rivalry.
Or
I'm
as
like,
they
wait,
like to call it, shitty side.
yeah, so it's like they have this like correlation somehow, which I thought it was super interesting.
Yeah.
So,
but in this scene, we also do get our introduction to our other supporting characters. So we have we also have Dina's brother,
yeah,
like her little brother, he's pretty cool because he's like the kind like the smart kid,
Josh.
the one that like knows all the rules and that kind of stuff. So like yeah, he's on like a chat room and talking to this one person about, oh, did you hear about this? I think it has to do with the whole like curse of the town and that kind of stuff. Because they kind of explain a little bit in like the title screen where, hey, there's these two towns that are like right next to each other. One of them is like the perfect all-American town, like nothing bad ever happens there. But then you have Shadyside, where all the crazy, insane shit always happens. It's like they literally call it like Murderville, USA, or something like that.
Yeah, it's weird because the way that they did, like, I guess with the vigil and all that stuff, like, why would Sunnyvale and Shadyside come together? And like when they go to two different schools, you're like,
I don't know. Like you're like asking for like a fight to break out.
Which did.
Spoiler alert, a fight breaks out.
A fight breaks out. Yeah, so basically, we do see Dina look right across the room to like a guy groping this girl's ass, and then she gets mad and she leaves. She takes the box. She's kind of like looking through all the stuff, and then I think the girl finally shows up, and then you realize that the person she was actually looking at was the girl, which is Sam, which is another character in this movie as well. Which a lot of shit happens to her too. Yeah. But anyway, I fucking hated her.
We almost forgot actually about the other two characters. So we have our cheerleader character, and then we have my favorite character in the movie,
and Simon.
I absolutely love Simon, and he needed to be protected at all costs.
Oh yeah, he
precious. I absolutely loved every single time Simon was on screen. Like he just ate all the scenery whenever he was on screen.
He just reminds me of a really hyped up Shaggy, honestly.
Pretty much. He's like Shaggy, but like confirmed for doing drugs.
Yeah. Essentially. And I feel like Kate was like Daphne or kind of like Velma. I don't know.
She was like a mix of the two, but she was also like just in your face, like I don't give a shit type of person too.
She was a pharmacist smart too, which was fucking wild.
I mean, she was also a drug dealer, so
yeah, but she knows what everything means.
Which I just think it's pretty funny because she's like the cheerleader and like like top of the class, that kind of stuff. But she's also a drug dealer. I'm like, that's how the town affects people, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it just gives you an idea of their perfect self, but then it also gives you their darkest side. So I think that's like a really cool aspect of that too.
Yeah, so basically things go to shit. And with Dina and Sam, basically Dina telling Sam off, basically fuck you, that kind of thing, giving her stuff back, and that kind of thing. And then a fight breaks out in the vigil between the Sunnyvale and
the Shadyside.
Shit. See, that's gonna mess me up with these S's, man. But then, so as soon as that whole scene is done, like, Kate starts a whole fucking riot inside the fuck. I was like, yo, that would be me though, because I'm usually I would be the fucking band nerd, like just fucking starting shit and all that kind of bus. Yeah, like Dina's so over it. She just has like her head on the fucking back. She's like, I'm done.
Like, here's the thing: Dina's like your typical '90s kid of like everything sucks. I hate everybody.
Yeah,
like she is '90s teen in a nutshell.
Yeah, so everything basically goes even more down the drain
Yeah.
when like Kate starts riling up the entire band kids and all that shit about like basically trying to give them a taste of their own medicine, saying that they're gonna kill them, that kind of thing. And you would think, I thought the movie was gonna be like, are these band kids about to kill the popular kids? If not, I'm all for it, honestly.
Is this gonna be like an all-out war between two schools, like straight up, like to the death?
Honestly, I was not against it. I was like, go at it.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be an interesting concept. Why not?
Yeah,
It'd be like it'd be like the Belko experiment, but with high schoolers.
Oh yeah. That's where I thought this movie was going to go, at least. But then, yeah, so I hope some of the Sunnyvale people, I don't even know, Sunnyvale, whatever. They start attacking the shady siders. These S's are going to mess me up.
Just say the Sunnies and the Shadies.
The Sunnies and the Shadies. The Sunnies start attacking the Shadies in the car by throwing stuff at them. And then Dina thought it was a great idea. Let's grab this gallon of whatever juice this is.
Let me open the emergency exit door while this bus is like moving, and then just throw the giant like orange jug of Gatorade at this car.
I mean,
why not?
She's not wrong. But either way, what's crazy is that Kate and her are like grabbing the freaking like gallon. And it's like, oh, she points out that Dina's like nose is bleeding. Mm-hmm. She is in shock, drops the freaking gallon, and then the car goes swerve. Goodbye. And they just hit, and then Dina screams, stop the bus. And then they realize that they fucked up.
I like how that's the one thing the bus driver actually cares for, like stopping the bus, not stopping the kids from throwing shit out the emergency exit door.
Bro, that's what I realized. I was like, what is the bus driver?
The bus driver is secretly hating on the Sunnies. He's like, fuck those Sunnies. Kill them, kids.
Yeah, exactly. So Dina goes, oh my god, Sam, how are you? Like, are you my baby? Like, how are you? I was like, yo, Sam was a piece of shit. Yo, so fuck that bitch. But then Sam also fucks up by touching on the witch's grave.
Yeah, so she bleeds. She like has blood in her hand, and she touches on the ground, not realizing it's a witch. It's the witch's grave. Sarah Fierce.
Yeah. So then she realized. Then she starts having these visions. And then, so they realize, Sam's boyfriend is threatening Dina. Sam gets taken away to the hospital. Dina's questioned by the police, and they all said it was an accident, that kind of thing. So then, that's part of our second scene. I don't remember what else comes next other than the main concept. Not gonna lie to you.
After that, I think it's I think it's like the first big scene when Dina is at home with her brother, and they see the guy in the skull mask outside, and they think it's Sam's boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, Sam's boyfriend, you're a piece of shit. Like, stop fucking bothering us. Like, leave us alone. Yeah. And then the same thing happens to Kate and Simon when Kate is babysitting, and he's just in there, just like digging through everybody's clothes.
Yeah, but they don't. But the skull person does not attack them. No, they just kind of stare at them, and they just eat.
And then he disappears.
Yeah.
Also a quick detail to mention there: Simon is still wearing a bloody shirt from the accident. Like, he just got covered. No,
he's not.
Yeah, he was. That's when he was still wearing. Well, no, like when he gets to the house, where Katie's babysitting, he's still wearing it.
Yeah. And then he's like, are you going to keep wearing the thing from yesterday?
He's like, this thing is awesome.
Yeah, but then he takes it off because Kate mentioned something.
Yeah.
Here I was thinking that Kate and Simon were a thing, but apparently they weren't. I was like,
I think they were just like really good friends. I think they were just like, hey, we're drug dealing friends.
Yeah. So basically, because he took off his shirt, the skull person went after the blood. But yes.
And then
they get together.
Yeah, they all get together. Then they all go to the hospital to confront Sam and be like, "Hey, tell your boyfriend to leave us alone."
Yeah, and then
Then
they realize they fucked up.
they get into like,
And
well, the first Sam and Dina get into this huge fight where they're like just like scream at each other and just tell each other
are
off.
you so obsessed with me, girl? I wanna know. Yeah.
And then of course Sam's boyfriend shows up and she's like, "Oh, you better fuck off. You better leave us alone." And then he dies. Like immediately
Yeah.
after that, he gets killed by the kid in the skull mask.
Netflix had no chill,
Oh
or
hell
just the
no.
author of R.L. Stein just did not give a fuck.
Nope.
Just yeah. So
And they, you know
basically, he
what?
could
They
decide
went
that.
and they went bloody too. Like they were like, we're not pulling any punches. Like this isn't a rated R horror movie. Like we're gonna go bloody.
Yeah, you know what's even crazier is that the fact that this is an R.L. Stein movie, and
Mm-hmm.
R.L. Stein like known for Goosebumps, which is
Yeah.
like kids horror versus this
Yeah. I know
crazy.
Fear Street was like almost like a sequel series to Goosebumps that was supposed to be a little bit darker. Because it was meant more instead of for kids, more for like young adults, like
Yeah,
teenagers type thing. So I think like that's why it's a little bit darker, but I think they were like the kids that were at Fear Street are adults now. Let's give them what they really want.
yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
But
Dun, dun,
then
dun, dun, dun.
we have like, and then at this point we have almost like a Halloween 2 type moment where like this guy's going on a killing rampage through this hospital, just killing
Yeah.
everything and everybody in sight.
Now that it makes me think about, I was like, why the hell would he kill if like they weren't bloodied up?
I don't
You know?
know. I think maybe he just like, I think he's just following Sam and he's just like killing everything that stands in his way at this point.
Yeah.
So he's just like, you're in the way, get out, stab, stab, stab.
Yeah. Basically. So Dina sees that the killer's face has been revealed and realizes that it is the killer from the mall, the one that killed the first girl in the beginning of the movie, and then realizes, yeah, and they start running for their lives, and then they go to the police station and they try to convince the police officer, Nick Good, saying we saw the killer. It's the same one from the mall. Then he shows them the picture of his shot head. I was like, are you sure it's him? Because he's pronounced dead. And
He
then
got shot in the head. He did.
he did. And then they're like, you gotta believe us, that kind of thing. So obviously he's taking no shit. Obviously doesn't believe
Yeah.
their bullshit. So then they call it quits. And Dina decides that it's an amazing idea to steal his gun.
She's like, hey, let me do the rational thing and steal this policeman's gun.
For self-defense against
Yeah.
the killer.
And of
But
course, as it always happens, the group splits up a little bit, and Simon kind of goes out on his own, and he sees this girl that he's like, oh, this girl's sexy, she's hot, and she's singing some sort of song. And she's a little bit weird because she's kind of dressed up a little different. She's got a hairdo very reminiscent of the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, this girl's cute, I'm gonna go talk her up. Lo and behold, this girl goes and like starts attacking him. And
Yeah,
like
with the old razor blade.
with a razor blade, yes, with like the Sweeney Todd style razor blades. And that's when Sam and the rest of the gang shows up, and Dina shows up and shoots the crazy girl in the eye and realizes she bleeds black blood, which is just like,
Yep.
okay, that's a little bit weird.
Yeah. So not
And then
only that, we
I
also
I also
discovered
love
that
Simon's line in this. He's just like, but she was so sexy. She was scary,
she
but she was so
crazy.
sexy.
Yeah. Literally, it's a drugged up Shaggy confirmed. But
You know,
we
no,
also
you know what he's like? He's like the bridge between Shaggy and the stoner guy from Cabin in the Woods.
that's fair.
He's like the middle ground. He's like, it's like a Pokemon evolution. It's like Shaggy, Simon, stoner guy from Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, you're right, man. I have to rewatch Cabin in the Woods now that I think about it.
Oh, I love Cabin in the
wanted
Woods.
to rewatch.
We should do an episode on Cabin in the Woods. I love that movie.
Hell yeah. Anyway, we discovered that Dina's brother is also a really smarty pants in serial killers, and then starts feeding them a whole bunch of information. I think that was the correct order. And then Simon mentions that she was so sexy, that kind of thing, and that she was sing. And then Josh mentions was she singing a song, and Simon's like, "What the fuck? How do you know that? Like, are you from the future?" That kind of bullshit. And then that's when he starts whipping out a whole bunch of information about past killers from 1978 of the Ninth Wing Camp Killer. And then there is Ruby Lane, which is the girl that he actually saw from 1965. And then there are other killers, more and more. And then we are revealed that Sarah Fear is actually behind all of the killings, which she died in 1966. And she is a witch. 1666.
Yeah. But
I can't. 1666.
Yeah,
man.
that's when they realize that like the nursery rhyme about her is true, where she comes back by possessing weak men, and or weak, obviously weak people, because
good innocent men. Basically.
She corrupts them and leads them to be killers.
Yeah, and not only that, but that her hand has been cut off in a sense, and then as long as her hand gets a grasp of the land, it's going to be cursed, and she's going to keep possessing people until the hand and the body unite. So the curse would be lifted.
Yep.
That kind of thing. So yeah, they kind of realized that the witch is kind of after Sam because she desecrated her grave, and they tried 20 different methods, kind of thing. and like
funny
I
enough,
think
this is where the movie kind of goes Evil Dead, because now you realize that like all the people that are after them are all undead.
Yeah.
And I like, we were talking about this like just now right before we started. I was like, this movie feels like Scream and Evil Dead had a baby.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, I think the first thing that they had attempted to do is that Josh kind of tells them we need to decontaminate and that kind of thing. So they start kind of doing like a mini shower in the school. They start switching out their clothes to like lost and found clothes. And then, so they kind of...
I honestly really like this scene because of like the whole thing that everybody's doing, where Kate and Josh share like the little romantic moment and they kiss. Sam and Dina have their romantic moment, and then Simon just does his thing. And then when they all leave the bathrooms and like the areas they were in there, he just like stops, looks at them. He's like, "Did we all just go to Pound Town?"
Yeah, me too. God, it was wild.
Like, I just love Simon so much.
I was like, damn. All right, love that. So I think the way that they had attempted to kill these killers is by putting gasoline all over, or all kinds of chemicals.
Yeah, so what they did was like they kind of used a little bit of Sam's blood as like bait. They like put it in one of the bathrooms, and they also covered that bathroom with like gasoline. And they're like, okay, we're gonna lead all these people in here, and we're just gonna light this thing on fire and just like burn them to death.
Yeah. So she's in the bathroom. She's trying not to die, and then of course they realize that as soon as the killers start coming closer to the bathrooms, they don't see them. So of course the theory of the blood is true, that kind of thing. They go into the bathroom. They all freaking go, from the Nightwing Camp Killer, Ruby Lane, the other one from 1922. They all show up, and of course, they don't see Sam. Sam goes up the vent, and they put a little lighter, and they burn.
Yes.
And we think that they did the deed. We really do.
But lo and behold, they have not succeeded, because these things are like fucking T-1000s as well, because they're blown to pieces, but they like start putting themselves back together again.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very Goosebumps
definitely
thing. Like every time I watch a Goosebumps movie or an episode, they're always turned into gooey shit, and they always just come together. I'm like, what is up with Arlstein and gooey shit? Like, just...
Okay. Anyway.
Yes.
What is with Arlstein and gooey shit?
Not a hashtag, but definitely what is with R.L. Stein and gooey shit. But anyway.
Hashtag R.L. Stein and gooey shit.
Basically. So yeah, they realize that this is not helping, and they all go into a room, and then they start freaking out. Why didn't it work? That kind of thing. And then Kate's like, "We're gonna sacrifice Sam." I would have done the same thing.
They're like, you know what? They're not after us. Just fuck Sam.
Yeah, fuck Sam. We might as well just throw her into the lion's den. And then Dina's like, no.
But I love her.
I love her. Then Sam actually like womans up, like literally as if
she's like, I got this. Just let me die.
Just let me die. They're after me. I was the one that fucked up. So then they toss her into the hallway. Then Dina's freaking out. Everybody's just like, "Oh, this is it. She dies."
Yeah. But then Josh thinks of something, and then he's like, "Hey, wait! Back in '78, during the stuff with the Nightwing killer, there was one survivor." And they were like, "Okay, wait, maybe she knows how to do this." So like, Sam, get your ass back in here. Let's try to call this lady up and figure out what to do.
Yeah. So they bring her ass back in. And they start calling C. Berman. C. Berman doesn't answer, that kind of thing. But they realize, like if, she knows, then we can figure out something. And then they somehow escape the school. And yeah.
Yeah, they go out a window. And then, I don't remember exactly how, but they end up at a supermarket.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I remember now. It's when they realized that C. Berman had died legally. She had died and then was brought back to life.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh, that's what we got to do to Sam. We got to kill her and then bring her back to life."
Yeah.
And this is where Kate and Simon are at their best. We're like, "Hey, we know drugs. We'll just make you OD and then we'll bring you back to life with EpiPens."
With lots and lots of EpiPens. So yeah, I thought this scene was very fascinating. The fact that like Simon and Kate, like they knew what to do, and the fact that like how to say it, the way that Kate just nicely just put stuff away. I was like, wow,
this is first this, then this.
Yeah, it was so nice. It was so satisfying to watch.
You know what's really funny? What was interesting to me, and I like this a lot, is that these supporting characters, they each had like their own thing, and like they added to the story in their own way. Like Josh was like your exposition dump, like he knew all about the killers and that kind of stuff. But then Simon and Kate, they were like, okay, we know how we can kill you safely and know how to bring you back. So like everybody kind of added something that would help the story move forward.
Yeah,
so that was pretty well written, I thought.
Me too. I thought it was really good. So then they they start covering themselves in blood. Now they say X Sam's blood marks the spot, and I was like, stop the script. I was like, no, not the cheesy writing. Lord, send me.
But I'm all for that kind of stuff.
Oh my god, gross. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why you forget. I was like, did we all just go to Pound Town? Like,
come on, that's funny.
It is, but it's just like, well, anyways, with that being said, so they all cover themselves in Sam's blood. Basically, they're trying to diverse themselves, like basically keeping the killer distracted while Dina is trying to OD Sam. And the fact that they just take forever to have her take these pills, like they're just having moments. She's throwing up, and I'm like, I would have shoved all the freaking things in her mouth.
Eat them all.
Like, eat them all. But they just had, like, too many sentimental...
Yeah, like, I felt like they were just... Like, that was done just to, like, extend, like, the suspense section of it. And after a while, it's just like, okay, I don't feel the suspense anymore. It's just like, come on, just keep it moving.
Yeah, exactly. So, basically, Sam's throwing up the pills. That kind of thing. They realize they take forever, so the killers find them. They find Sam essentially, and then I think
we get to some sad deaths that I was honestly I wasn't expecting these to happen, because I was like, oh, this is kind of like Stranger Things, but just like R-rated. Like they're not gonna do this, and the poor Kate gets grabbed What?
No, not before that.
What?
Anyway, but Kate and Josh kind of have their moments, and then Josh and Simon have a moment where Simon says, Kate sees something in you, like you just have to see it in yourself. Another cheesy little line.
Mm.
So basically, he's like telling her, like, yo, like, Kate has a thing for you.
Like, dude,
don't
shoot your
doubt
shot.
it, that kind of thing. Shoot your shot. After this night's over, that kind of thing. So yeah, they're trying their absolute bestest to distract the killers, but unfortunately, now you can say it.
Unfortunately, we get to some sad deaths where the Nightwing Killer grabs Kate and straight up gives us the most gruesome death in the movie, where he literally grabs her and runs her through what they use to like cut bread into slices and just like rams her face through it. You're like, oh god, no, please just stop. Like, I was not expecting Kate to die. I was also not expecting it to be as bloody as it was.
Yeah,
That shit was gruesome.
I was like,
damn.
okay. You didn't have to go that far, but shit.
I was like, oh fuck, poor Josh.
Yeah.
And then I was like, damn. So then yeah, cool. What happens next?
Josh and Simon are running around. They see Kate's body. No, before that. I keep forgetting things. See, this is why we need to write notes, people. Write notes. They realize that Oding wasn't working, so what they do is Dina removes the lobster out of the little tank from the supermarket and attempts to drown Sam, which is great, I think is a really weird way to try and revive.
I wonder if there was a part of Dina that was like, you deserve this for what you did to me.
A little bit. You kind of saw it in her, but at the same time,
she's like, this is also my therapy. Drown.
Yeah, but she was like telling Sam to hurry up and die so they wouldn't stop coming after them, kind of thing. Yeah. But in between that scene where she's busy trying to kill her, Josh and Simon see Kate's body. They're in shock. Then suddenly, Simon gets the axe right after. I'm like, what is happening?
And like right in the head too. I was like, straight up. It wasn't even a jump scare, but that shit made me jump. I was like, holy shit.
Like, they couldn't even process her death. It was just like, oh, they saw her yeet. And
I was like, damn, not Simon. No.
At that point, I was like, Josh might as well die. I mean, everybody's going to die in this movie at this point. Like,
yeah, and I was like, oh shit, no.
Yeah, so finally, Josh is running from the Nightwing Killer. I don't know. Like, Ruby Lane is kind of like, she's supposed to be like this gruesome killer, but she was like nowhere to be found.
Yeah, she like,
the very end.
she just like disappeared for a good like 5-10 minutes. Where I thought that I actually thought that she was gonna be the one to kill Simon. I was expecting Nightwing Killer to just show up again. I was like, I think it'd be interesting because it was, they already had like the little story stuff with Simon and her. It would be it would be good foreshadowing, and like that would have been better, I think.
Yeah, but then with Ruby Lane just shows up towards the end, and I'm like, where the fuck were you this entire time? And then like the 1922 killer, it shows up out of nowhere too. I'm like, yo,
you mean
like,
the 94 killer?
The
Skull Mask. Yeah, it was Skull Mask guy.
No, it wasn't the Skull Mask.
Yes, it was Skull Mask.
No, the one in the blue janitor suit.
No, it was all the three killers were only the Nightwing Killer, Ruby Lane, and the... No, there was never 4 killers.
Unless I'm confusing with 78.
You're probably confusing with 78 because there was only 3.
Because
I remember just the 3.
I remember 4.
No, those weren't the 3.
I remember 4. Anyway. But
anyway.
The 94 killer. So finally, Dina's trying to drown the heck out of Sam. She finally dies. The killers disappear. So they're trying to revive her. Dina's like, Sam, don't give up on me. La, 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 la. That kind of thing.
And literally stabs her with like 5 EpiPens.
I was like, damn.
I was like, that's too many EpiPens.
I was like, isn't that technically bad? Like, wouldn't you kill her with
Yeah.
adrenaline?
Funny enough, like the little film nerd in me was like, hey, this might be a reference to Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. So then finally at the end she gives her CPR. I'm like, why didn't you attempt that first?
Right? Like, I think it's because like she was still like trying to. Maybe it was because of like the drugs, because like, she had still taken the pills. She hadn't thrown up the pills or anything.
Yeah,
So it might have
that's
been
true.
that. I was like, maybe this will wake her up, even though she probably has water in her lungs. This will still wake her up.
Yeah. So finally, Sam does want to go, and then she comes back to
And she goes,
life.
bleh.
And then Dina and is a happy lesbian, and just it's all about it's all fun. It's all fun and good. I think the next day comes, and
Yeah, that's when they get interviewed by the police, so like get a statement from them. And this is where I
yeah,
felt so bad, because like they were like, yeah, it was Simon and Kate. They were like these two crazy junkies that like attacked the store and like started killing each other. I was like, that's so sad. Like that's not what happened. It's
yeah,
like
I thought that was
that's
so sad.
yeah. I was like, that's no, they're heroes. Damn it.
Yeah. So the fact that like Nick Good tried to paint them as bad was just awful.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they kind of did it just to like keep everybody from panicking about what happened, and like obviously because at the same time I don't think anybody was going to believe that and be like, oh, three undead ghosts came and killed all these kids, like
yeah.
yeah, that kind of thing.
So then, of course, Dina and Sam walk out of the police station and they're holding hands. And then the mom comes in, like, Sam, ah." And then Dina's like, oh, see you tomorrow. And then she says, no. Here I am thinking she was about to reject her. I'm like,
I'd be like,
you
Sam,
ungrateful bitch.
Sam.
Yeah, I was like, yo, you ungrateful bitch. I
But
was about to throw hands.
then she hits us. She hits it with like, I won't see you tomorrow. I'll see you tonight. I was like, oh damn, okay, Sam.
Okay,
In front of your mom too.
damn, and then kisses her, and I'm like, oh damn,
Like in front of your mom too. Like that's, you know what? I'll
yeah,
give you that. That's pound. I'll give you those points.
yeah, it was great. I was like, oh, that was cute. But then, yeah, they have their little romantic night. They cuddle in there in the underwheels, and they have pizza and that kind of stuff. The brother orders pizza, Dina's brother, and then chilling, and he's on his computer writing away,
Yep.
with his little serial killer friends, and obviously his other friends on the chat room start saying, "Oh, it was all those junkies, like it wasn't Seraphir," and then he
Yeah.
starts defending Sam and Kate, saying,
Like telling them, it's
"No,
like it's straight up. He was like, they were heroes.
they were heroes. I was there." That one thing, and then he was like, "Oh, like she's smart, and then she's fearless for Kate," and I was like, "Oh, you cute
Like
little
poor Josh.
bastard."
Poor Josh.
Here I was thinking that Josh was kind of younger than Kate. I was like, damn, but like he got shit.
I think it was maybe like a 1 or maybe 2 year difference or something. But like he liked the older lady. Like he
Yeah.
liked them older.
Wouldn't that technically be? Wait, there weren't they seniors? Wait.
I honestly don't know what they were. It's hard to tell.
Wouldn't she be 18 and he is 2 years younger? What? Well, either way. Still, it was cute.
Yeah.
But then suddenly,
we get a call from C. Berman.
C. Vermin.
Like not only that, it's like it hasn't it been like a week or 2 weeks or something too, and then
No,
she's like,
it
"Hey,
was a day. It was the day after.
she's like, "Hey, I got your call like a day late. This shit's not over."
Yeah. And then she's like, what do you mean? That kind of thing. And then Sam just goes ape shit.
And stabs Dina.
Yeah, and here I am thinking, oh, well, Dina's dead. Like, I was like, oh, well, nobody survives this movie.
And Dina's like, I will survive.
Barely.
Yeah. But it's funny because like she ties Sam up, and then she's like, we gotta figure out what to do with Sam now. And that's literally how the movie ends.
And then we get a little bit of a preview on 1978, which I watched and I will not discuss probably
No.
until the next podcast.
Yeah, we'll
Maybe, I
do
don't
that. I
know.
think we should do the next episode on that. I'll
Yeah, but
definitely
the
have.
next one
I'll
that's going
watch
to
it
come
by then.
out is going to be, no. If we're going to do, well, either way, something that we'll discuss after the podcast,
Yeah.
but that's how the movie ends. They tie her up and, they
Yeah. Oh,
get some more talks with C. Berman, for sure.
What I'm curious to try to figure out is why they did it backwards. Like they're doing 1994, then 78, then 1666. I'm curious as to like why they're going backwards. I thought they would have gone like 66 first, then 78, then the 94. I don't know why. It's interesting. It's different.
You will see when you get to
Okay.
1978. Like, it makes sense the way that they did it. But it does throw me off that they went 1994, 1978, and then jumped to 1666 instead of going to the 65. Because I think I would have been interested in seeing Ruby Lane's murder.
Mm-hmm.
I would have enjoyed seeing that. But because I think she has a really cool concept with the lullaby and having, to
Killed her boyfriend.
kill her boyfriend while singing a song. I think that would have been cool. Maybe we might see that in the future. Who knows?
We might, because I know for sure right now it's just a trilogy.
Yeah.
But we might get like side stories or something later on, or like maybe even like a series. Who knows? We might just get something later on if it does well, and it seems to be doing well because they're both of them are still like trending in the top 10 on Netflix. So they might be going popular for a bit, which I appreciate that.
What's crazy, I think Fear Street was supposed to be meant for October, because if you look at the dates for like a lot of the murders, it's in October.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I'm pretty sure this movie was supposed to come out in October. But I guess they're getting held back by production
or maybe like they know about other stuff that's going to be releasing in October, and they're like, hey, we know we're not going to be able to compete with that kind of stuff, so we're like, hey, let's just release it early. Could be that. Because I know there's like, we got Halloween Kills is going to be a pretty big release for October, so that's what I'm thinking. It's probably because of like kind of the big budget horror movies usually come out in October, so
yeah,
that's probably what I'm thinking it is.
But that's like saying like American Horror Story shouldn't release their shit in October, and there they go, always releasing their shit in October or September.
Well, in this case, we're getting it. At least we're getting Horror Stories in July. It comes out on the 15th of July, I think. Comes out pretty soon. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited. A little bit mixed feelings, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing it. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But that is kind of our synopsis and like a deep dive into Fear Street. But I'm curious, outside of what we described and everything, I'm curious to know like what you thought of the movie overall. Like what did you like? What did you not like?
What I liked about it just seemed different, because I do like the spin off of like almost like an Evil Dead and Scream and anything classical with basically 90s slashers kind of thing. In terms of the characters, really great character development. I feel like Dina could have used a little bit of more work.
Yeah, like I feel like out of everybody in the cast, she had like the least to do.
And she was not. I'm not saying she wasn't extremely likable, because she has every right and reason to act the way that she did. But I feel like Kate had more motive, and I feel like there should have been more with the whole accident, rather than just them spilling some gallon and then randomly Sam touching the bones. Like, she just happens to crawl out and touch the bones by accident,
Like I think I would have liked to see more of her as a character, like maybe more of her relationship with Josh. Yeah. And maybe even like some of her relationship with her dad, because you don't see her dad at all in the film.
Yeah, which I think that was completely random and thrown in there.
Yeah, it was like, oh yeah, he works nights, so like that's why he's never around.
Yeah, but what's interesting, a little bit of a tiny spoiler for you too, is the fact that Dina stays around, and for the other two movies as well.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is where we might see a little bit more of
Like
what
development. Maybe she has like a longer
development she
arc.
has,
Yeah.
a longer arc. But I feel like with her being the starting point, for me she was not a likable character.
Okay.
I just feel like she wallowed too much on her relationship with Sam. That even Sam, even though she was a bitch, she had a little bit more development than Dina. You
Yeah, I
understood,
agree.
yeah, with like, oh, she came from Shady Side. She had a secretive relationship with Dina. Her mom doesn't approve. She changed schools and decided to date this guy. She realizes her mistake, that she feels more human by being in this relationship with Dina. And what do we know about Dina? We know that she was a band geek. She was obsessed with Sam, and
And that's pretty much it.
that's pretty much
Yeah, we
it.
don't
Yeah.
really get to know her as a character, I think.
And then, you know, like she fucked up because now the killers are after her, and then
Mm-hmm.
she realizes that kind of thing. Then
Yeah.
we only know about her father, but like what caused that? Like, was there a divorce with her father that caused the alcoholism?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we ever saw Dina's mom. I don't remember.
No, we don't really see we don't really
We don't see any
explore
adults.
Dina's like backstory, I think.
Yeah, so it just felt like Halloween, the first Halloween movie, like meets Scream and Evil Dead, because you don't even see the parentals around. I'm like, where are your parents? Like,
Yeah.
but you also like saw a lot more of Simon. You knowing that Simon is funny. He's also a junkie, almost a junkie, but
He's more
he's
of a
like
stoner,
super
I
smart,
think.
a stoner, that kind of thing. Kate's super smart. She's pretty. She fucking is fearless as fuck. And then we see Josh, that he has a lot of history in the chat, knowing about all the serial killers, and helps them out. He's like almost like super smart, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like super young, and you just see him like. That's the thing. Dina was just. I want to see more of her, to see
Yeah,
why she's
because
so likable.
yeah, because like every character kind of had like their thing, and Dina was just like didn't really have that defining quality, I think.
Yeah.
Which I think is a problem when she's your protagonist.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Exactly.
Maybe they develop it more as the series goes on, like as the trilogy goes
Yeah.
on. I personally liked the movie quite a bit. I liked all the references and like the influence of those '90s slashers and that Evil Dead vibe that I got from it. I really really liked the opening scene. I thought it was really well made. It was really well shot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did like the chemistry between the characters because like it you can definitely tell that they were just like friends, like high school friends. Like they probably knew each other from childhood, and like
Yeah.
you could like the chemistry was really cool. It was like it felt natural to me.
Yeah.
That was cool. The action sequences were pretty good. The kills were a lot more gory and a lot more gruesome than I was expecting.
Me too.
And I was like, I'm all for it. I'm a gore hound. I'll lead that shit up.
And I also really liked the whole, just the creative side. I don't, even if R.L. Steen is the one that came up with it. I mean, it has a little bit more explaining to do, like I told you, but I feel I really do like the sunny side, the Sunnyvale and the shady side rivalry,
Mm-hmm.
and like they have so much beef with each other. Maybe like in 1666, which I don't know anything because the movie hasn't even come out.
Yeah.
Maybe the Sunnyvale people was like shunning other people from shady side, and that's where they sacrificed
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Fear for being a part of another thing.
Yeah, or
Maybe
funny
like,
enough, like my theory for this is like maybe like the Sunny people knew about it, and they're like, "Fuck the Shadies, just
yeah,
throw the witch in there, let them deal with that."
yeah. So I think that whole history with the towns is really
Yeah,
interesting. So
yeah, I really want to see that the history of that fleshed out a little bit more too. I'd like to see that.
yeah, but you're gonna enjoy 1978. It was a little, it dragged on a little bit, but I enjoyed it.
Mm, okay, yeah,
You get
I'll
to learn a
definitely.
little bit of more backstory on certain characters. Sadly, not on the protagonist, but certain characters you get to
Yeah,
learn a little bit more of, and it's really cool.
but yeah, I'll definitely give that a watch pretty soon. Probably in a couple days or as soon as pretty much as soon as I can, I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, but that is pretty much the episode. We I
Yeah.
think we got into it pretty deep with this movie. Um, it wasn't like a perfect movie. No movie's perfect. I was very entertained though. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. So,
Yeah, me too. Same here.
but I believe we have reached the end of this little Fear Street journey for now. So it is time to do our basic housekeeping. Vanya, where can you be found?
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at HHN Cultist. I do makeup vlogs, anything horror related with Halloween Horror Nights, horror in general, movies, and anything Universal Orlando related. So if that's something that you're interested, come check me out. But we also have other people in this podcast, such as my co-host. He also does the things on his own, other than our lovely podcast. Where can you be found?
Uh,
Found. Find found.
Where can you be found?
Hi. Where can you be found?
So you can follow me on Twitter at itbeyusuf. I'm a little bit more active on there than I used to be. I post a lot of random stuff on there. You can also find me on Instagram at Yusuf1220. And those are pretty much the only two that I'm the most active on right now. But outside of that, for our podcast, there's a lot more places that you can be following us on. We're on Twitter at Sounds from the Grave. We're on Instagram at Sounds from the Grave. We have our Facebook page. And we also have our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. And we also post them on YouTube if you want to see our ridiculous faces.
Yeah, very sleepy, ridiculous faces.
Oh yeah. This week there was not the week in horror because I was actually on vacation. I wasn't even near my computer, so I couldn't look up a lot of information and news.
Same.
There will be a new one next week, or this week, I guess, coming up. Anyway, but outside of that, we also have our email. That's soundsfromthegravepodcast@gmail.com. You can always reach out to us on there and let us know if there's something that you want us to talk about, or if you want to be on the show. We'd love to have you on, because we are a safe space. Anybody that wants to be on the show is going to be on the show.
Yeah. So please reach out. We love to talk to other people.
For sure.
Yeah.
But with that, we bid you a good night or a good day whenever you're listening to this, and keep it spooky.
Keep it spooky, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.